Okie doke. Today, as part of How to Get the Right Help Month, I'm chatting with Andrea from Cotswold Menopause. Andrea, do you want to tell us a bit about what you do?
Oh, hello. Well, funnily enough, I'm sat here laid up with a broken ankle. I'm not doing an awful lot at the moment. But what I help women with is natural solutions for menopause. And it's looking at all different aspects. It's supplements, it's lifestyle, it's eating habit changes, and it's mindset. And my viewpoint and my learnings, my understanding are via Chinese medicine. But it's not as out there as it sounds. Chinese medicine is actually utterly practical, and it's a theory-based thing. There's no powdered anything. So it really is using just the way the Chinese have worked out how our bodies work. And my models for menopause, as Emily know, come from very much hot and cold, what's going on, how to balance it. And they've taught us how to tap into the body and understand it. And that has proved incredibly powerful for understanding, not only managing menopausal symptoms, but bringing women out of their menopausal symptoms back to who they were beforehand. Amazingly so, that women go, I just can't believe I'm back to the old me. So it's incredibly powerful. And I thought with today's talk, that's what I want to get across to women, is that you can choose to do these things naturally. It's just you've got to learn and understand what that is. So in a nutshell, that's what I do.
Perfect. So in terms of, let's say somebody comes to you feeling pretty awful, as
Yeah.
you know, we come into perimenopause, we're feeling pretty overwhelmed and pretty rubbish. And for whatever reason she doesn't want to take HRT, she wants to go down the natural route. Where would you start? What information might you want from her? How would you start getting her feeling better?
Do you know, I say everything starts with a chat. Because 4 or 5 years ago, I don't think I'd ever uttered the word menopause in my life, or even thought about it, till the day I found out I was heavily perimenopausal, luckily and surprisingly. And the one thing I'd like to try and get women away from and reassure them they really don't need is a blood test. Just don't need it. I see that quite a lot on the thread. I'm asking for a blood test. They won't give me one. Why won't they give me one? You just got to let go of that. You've got to let go of labels. The one label I do happen to like, though, is the separation of perimenopause from menopause. And that's as far as I go with labeling. Menopause, your periods have stopped, or just about to stop. They're stuttering, they're dying, they're having it. You might be flushing incredibly. That's the menopause. Pretty much before that point, if you're in your 40s, if you've got any symptoms, you're perimenopausal. And it's going to take time to get products out there that are labeled perimenopausal. But that's another issue I'll come on to in a minute. So I also feel women are misdirected in the supplements that they take. We'll talk about that in a minute. I think what's brilliant, what you've done is actually broken out that label of perimenopausal. So I offer, free menopause chats. And what they're really to say is to, first of all, tell a woman everything that's happening is natural and normal. Yes, your symptoms may be exaggerated because, of course, we get into the whole list of what's going on. What is the perimenopause for you? I don't need to know the names of drugs. I don't need to know long labels. I just want to know how they feel, because actually what you feel and how you're living your life and what's going on in your head, that's where it all starts. That's where we start untangling. And the very, very first thing that I need to help that woman to see is it's a mindset thing. It's not a bad time of life. Yes, you've hit a rut, and you've hit a rut because nutrition, lifestyle, advertising, diets, they've all led you to that rut, incorrectly so. I mean, the advice that was still being given, either by television advertising, what's on the shelves in the supermarket, certain slimming companies, it's all wrong. It's all completely wrong. And so many women come through the door with the guilt of that. Oh, I should be. I go, I don't want to hear that again. I should got banned in this house 15 years ago. And do you know what? That came from our Chinese medicine training. I should was banned and guilt was banned. When you
Found in
start
my
taking
house too.
yeah, but the Chinese medicine explain why you shouldn't use those terms because they're putting you into negative mindsets. So I hope that that lady that's first walked through the door and said, help me, and there'll be people that only think HRT is the way, and I can't help them if that's how they feel. They have to either open their mind that there are different ways to doing things, or be happy with the route that they're taking, in which case go with my blessing. I'm there for the women that go, I'm utterly confused, lost, don't know what to do, can you help me? Or those women that go, for whatever reason, either I want to be natural or I can't take HRT, again, can you help me? And as long as they're coming in with that open mindset of what can you do for me, I go, let's chat about it. And the first thing I want to do is just reassure them it's all okay. And then give them options of how they can move forwards. And a lot of those options are free. You know, you go away and you read a download that I've done. You know, if you're a DIY person, as I call them, I did, well, once in a while I thought, well, should I have menopausediy.com? But that didn't go down very well. Apparently lots of negative connotation about hammers and drills. But I want women, if they can help themselves, to do it. But if they need the support, then there's somebody that understands. And I've been through it, and I'm going through it because I still have periods. So I've not got to the menopause yet. You've not got to the menopause yet. We're both heavily perimenopausal, but we've both learned so much over the last 4 or 5 years each. Your journey's been that long, hasn't it? Yeah. So we've learned a lot. We don't have certificates. This comes back to me not liking labels. There isn't a course you can go on to get a certificate to say you're a menopause expert. Well, all the experts I would suggest on this group have got a certificate in something, whether it's anything to do with, you know, physiology or, you know, nutrition or whatever. We're all an expert in something, but we've then specialized because either it's come to us naturally or we've got a story about it, and it's captured our attention and we've progressed in that area. So we've learned a lot. We've all learned a lot. You've learned a lot. So it all starts with a chat. And then, of course, medical history. I need to know life medical history. And then I need to know perimenopause, and probably about the last 3-4 years, how you feel you've changed. Because I always say to women when they go, am I perimenopausal? And I go, do you feel like you were the person you were 3 or 4 years ago? If they say no, I go, you're perimenopausal. It's as simple as that. Our body chemistry changes so much as we come into this phase of our life, that with the hormonal changes, with the stresses of life, nutrients like the vitamins and minerals are leached out of our system. And that leaching starts to manifest as joint pain, muscle pain, tiredness, stomach problems, headaches, mood swings, irritability. It's literally because our body chemistry is changing and it's put us into shock. And it's going to take us a few years to rebalance that, pump in all the good stuff, help it to rebalance. I feel so much better than I felt 4 or 5 years ago. I didn't even realize I felt bad, but it had been slipping and I feel so much better now. My fatigue's gone. You've just got to understand, you're in your 40s, you're coming up for the menopause, your body is changing, you are perimenopause. You don't need a blood test. The reason you don't need a blood test is because hormones do this. So depending on the day when you have the test, your hormones could be up there, but more likely they're probably down there, and the doctor might say, well, blood tests say you're not perimenopausal, which would then throw you into a whole world of confusion. Because a GP, somebody you know and respect, has said, you're not perimenopausal. So what am I then? I feel like I'm going mad. Am I depressed? It's a nasty situation. So don't even go there. Don't even ask for the label. You're not depressed. You don't need blood tests. You are perimenopausal. Now this is what we do about it.
And it's interesting what you just said about us being depleted. I've lost track of the number of times that I have said that in this phase of life, we need to be nourishing ourselves. We do not need to be depriving ourselves of anything.
I
And
love chocolate.
my but my stance, I mean, my personal stance, and it's kind of coming through obviously in my work as well, is that now more than ever, we don't need to be dieting. We don't need to be restricting anything that we give to ourselves. Now, that also doesn't mean that we go and launch headfirst into the McDonald's, because that's also not nourishing us. But if we restrict that, we're going to want it more.
Yeah. So I've got a couple of things there. I've got a quick story about McDonald's. So, you know, occasionally you get, I think it's Dr. Rangan Chatterjee. He does a program on BBC. Watch them, really watch them. They're great. And like a doctor friend of his did a study on his poor kid. I mean, I feel sorry for the kid. Gave him only McDonald's, and there are other burger joints available. Fed his son, who was about 10 or 11 or 12 or something, on that burger for a week. And however they did it, checked gut bacteria, and it killed all his gut bacteria. And it took a year to repopulate it. Okay. So this is why processed foods are bad, because what you have to, and this is why so much of the menopause, well let's move into the supplements now. We'll get into that area of talk. Supplements are about feeding your body again. So, you know, I'll talk about multivitamins in a minute. We can put the vitamins and mineral back into our body, but what you need is a flourishing gut. Now, a gut is a living place called the microbiome, and it should have a lot of bacteria swimming around. Think of it like little tadpoles or bunny rabbits. I don't care how you think about it, but just think about you're keeping like 100 million billion little creatures alive in your gut. Those creatures need to be fed. So popping the creatures into your body, live bacteria, is known as a probiotic. So you've all heard of those. And I suggest getting a liquid one rather than a capsule one. But they need to be fed. And they don't like processed food. Processed food kills them. So I said a moment ago, I love chocolate. And if you want to eat chocolate because it's that day before your period, go ahead, enjoy it, eat it, right? But also have on that day or the surrounding days as much vegetation as you can, because that vegetation goes, that's why I like to think of it as bunny rabbits nibbling on bits of lettuce and greenery, because it's like a sweet picture. Your gut needs that vegetation, and that vegetation only comes from natural food. The other thing the gut really needs, and your whole body needs, your brain chemistry needs, so if you've got brain fog, you need what are called the essential fatty acids. And it's got that word in, fat. Okay? Fat is not a bad thing. Fat is a good thing. Our brain is the starvation of those fats from our body that actually cause problems. So you need things with natural fats in. I think you mentioned avocado earlier. That's a brilliant one. Nuts, seeds, anything that says it's high in omega-3 is good for us. Olive oil, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, all of these things are needed in our diet, and they can be mixed in with fruits and yogurt. They can be sprinkled on salads. They can be, I do baked mushrooms, and I make sure I've got a medley of nuts to give it a nice crunch, and mixed in with cheese, full fat cheese. So it is about giving your body that nourishment that the whole gut needs. And then one of the major symptoms, or two actually, during perimenopause are fatigue and anxiety. And they're completely linked. It's catch-22. If you're going to get one, you're going to get the other. And, you know, we've lived quite fast lives. Maybe the lockdown is helping some people. But those fast lives lead to us being adrenally exhausted. And again, this is going to manifest in your quality of sleep. If you find you're waking up at 4 or 5 a.m. mind whirring, it's because your body hasn't relaxed. So when we talk about supplements. Now, funny enough, although I help people with menopause, I never put anybody on a menopause branded product. This is because if it says Meno in the title, it's going to have phytoestrogens in it. like soya isoflavones or red clover. And there is only a certain time in your cycle changes that you probably need these phytoestrogens, because they're quite powerful, I think, soy isoflavones. And so, for example, the other year when I was testing things out, I am my own guinea pig. I started taking a menopause branded product that I was given free for a week. Within 3 days, I was getting hot flushes at 10 a.m. And I've never had hot flushes. So I was like, I feel like the product has given me hot flushes. And what this is because as we know that progesterone has declined. If you don't know that yet, then start reading the basics of the menopause. And as we get closer to menopause, then estrogen is spiking, and that's the one that they're doing the blood test for, if they do them, as the estrogen. So estrogen is up and down. We know this. We have periods, we have days we want to kill people. So we know estrogen's fluctuating. What I feel, and actually I've spoken to some hormonal people since, who say you shouldn't have a phytoestrogen product or an estrogenic product until your periods have stopped. Because then we know your estrogen is more like this. But whilst your estrogen is spiking, if you take an estrogenic product, i.e. something with meno in the title, on a day where your estrogen is spiking, you're giving yourself a double whammy and you're going to start flushing more. So I don't put any woman who still has periods on a menopause product. What I put them on is the building blocks of the body. It's the nuts and bolts of making this work. It's the oil in a car engine, the stuff that makes it run. And this is vitamins and minerals. It's as simple as that. And I don't even now, obviously if you're seeing a GP and you're B12 deficient and something like that, that's with you and your doctor. But in general, the very first thing, if somebody says, I think I'm perimenopausal, I'm tired and I'm achy, a well woman style multivitamin and the additional magnesium, because you'll never get. And then do that for 2 weeks and then see where you are and go, do I feel a bit better? No, I feel crud. Have my aches and pains gone? Actually, they're feeling a bit better. Is my sleep improved? Yes, no. So until you've got the building blocks in your body, unless you're an extreme case, in which case we're doing this privately and we're going through your whole medical history, let's start and just make sure the nutrients are back in your body. So that's a probiotic for your gut health, vitamins and minerals, and magnesium. It's the starting point for everybody. It's like, and I don't say you should know this, because you shouldn't know this, because nobody's taught you this. I wouldn't have known this 5 years ago. I've had to teach myself. So there's no judgment. But if we just say, look, just get yourself on this stuff and then come back with your problems in 2 weeks' time, you're not being dismissed. It's like, let's just get you started and then let's find out what the problems are. Because I just believe so many women, and of course we can talk food, but you've got lots of other experts to talk food with, until we've just tweaked all the basics. And just, you and I were saying earlier that for about 20 odd years we ate pasta every night because it's quick and easy. You've come in from work, pasta sauce, it's got tomatoes in, hasn't it? Bit of broccoli, sorted. Until you know how you just have to alter everything for how your body's altering. We're all here to tell you that. That's why the experts are here. That's what I say. So just need to use us, really. Ask us questions. I hop on and answer quite a lot of questions. So yeah, but it's I think it's getting into everybody's minds that we're here with the answers.
And actually, that has summed up 100% that just within the hub and going on the hub website, there is the help for most people, isn't there?
Yeah, because I think everybody, I like reading the posts. Forgive me for the people that write the really posts where they're really suffering, but it opens my eyes to what's going on out there. And thinking, gosh, could I help that? No, there might be some that I say that there is a complexity there. There's a hub expert for that. You'll see me hop on a lot and go, are you on a multivitamin yet? Are you taking magnesium yet? Because until you start ruling out just the general stuff, you can't go further. So I love reading what the women's posts say, because gosh, No two people are the same, and that's absolutely fine. But on the other hand, what you experience is actually relatively normal. It's just women have it to different intensities and different combinations. But at the end of the day, for everybody, the underlying hormonal imbalance means we're all about heading towards the menopause. So it just manifests in very different ways. And I think one of the biggest things is it's scary because it's unknown. And what I love about the Perimenopause Hub, I think, is the only group that allows experts to integrate into it and to give advice. Because in any other group you're in, quite moany, you try to say anything that smells of being helpful and you're kicked out of the group or given a written warning or something. So I gave up on every other menopause group because I just thought you're all so distressed and I can't help you. There's no point in me being there, and it was making me depressed, really. Then I found you, thank God. So experts like to answer questions. We want to be helpful. It's what we do. Yes, it might lead to an old client. That would be brilliant. So it's nice that we can go in and just honestly and refreshingly just give some basic advice. We're never going to give anything complex in the group because it's public and we don't have enough of your history. So that's why you then do need to speak to somebody privately, but pretty much all of us offer some sort of free chat.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's been brilliant. And I think you're absolutely right. Anybody who's wanting to get a feel for where they are in the process, as you say, so many of the experts do offer a free chat. That's a really good place to start, isn't it?
Yeah, and I have my free downloads, so cotswoldmenopause.co.uk, free downloads. You know, the very first one in there is called 8 Steps to Managing Your Menopause, and it just takes you through those first supplements. The supplements to start helping you sleep, how to start reducing night sweats, and how to reduce anxiety. You know what? It's all achievable. It just needs some lifestyle changes, some knowledge, and some supplements. So there's enough stuff around for just getting started. Then, of course, there are women with very complex issues, and there's some that can only be dealt with medically, and there's some that can only be dealt with some sort of estrogenic replacement. But those are rare. Those are really small percentages, I feel. I really do feel. I think the majority of us, it's just a lack of understanding. It's just hit us in the face one day. You think it's without warning, but actually it's been building up for 2, 3, 4 years. It's just the straw that broke the camel's back. It's why just suddenly so many women start getting hot flushes at Christmas, because it's stressful and you're in a hot kitchen and all your family's on top of you and you want to kill most of them. You know, these are why these things peak at these times. So yeah, I wonder if actually for some women lockdown will have been more stressful, and for other women, I know a lot of women that go, wow, you know what, I don't want to go back to work, this has been great, I've really enjoyed lockdown. So because they've had the time to rest, not get stressed, and maybe their body's starting to repair a bit.
That's been brilliant. Thank you so much, Andrea.
Oh, you know what we've forgotten to do? Blossom waggle time.
Oh, blossom waggle time.
So I haven't bribed Emily. I just had to forcefully get her to take the lid off her test pot one day. And she did, and it helped her sleep, and that's brilliant. And I just want to say thank you to Sue Thomas Taylor, who came on this morning and gave me a glowing review. You don't know how happy that made me. That was really, really brilliant. And to Jen Davey, who said that my website was informative. So thank you to both those ladies. I see a lot of women out there going, is there anything that helps with sleep? Hot flushes, night sweats, and itchy skin. Itchy skin is one that's come out of it now as well. And Blossom Cream is just natural ingredients, and it's vegan as well, cruelty free. But those natural ingredients have very small amounts of essential oils in, and essential oils are very, very powerful. They're nature's medicine cabinet. Essential oils are so powerful, and because people say, I can't believe, you know, essential oils are working for me. And essential oil is so powerful that the pharmaceutical industry had to take that essential oil, decompose all the chemical components, and lift out what they thought was the active component and make tablets out of it. So, for example, German chamomile, which is a daisy, they took proofin out of it, which is known as ibuprofen. So that's just to let you know how powerful essential oils are, is that they dumb them down to make medication. So it's fantastic that Blossom is working for people, because you do go through that whole, is it really working for people? So when you get a review, you go, yeah, it's really working for me. So what we say with Blossom is, if it smells good, it works for you. And this is because it's working on the limbic system of your brain. And it's an amazing test when it's done with licorice. If you smell something and like it, you need it. And funny enough, in chocolate, it's probably the vanilla. When you really, really want chocolate, it's the vanilla is like a calming sedative. Because vanilla, of course, if that's pressed, gives you essential oil. It's a really expensive one, actually, vanilla. So we're probably, when we're driven to wanting to eat chocolate, there'll be components of the actual cocoa that you want, but also the vanilla is a really powerful. It's probably why they made milk chocolate. They worked out putting vanilla in made it slightly addictive, because dark chocolate's not addictive like milk chocolate. So again, we come back to things in nature that we sniff out and want, and if it doesn't smell right to us, then it's toxic to us. So there's the odd person that goes, Blossom smells like toilet cleaner, and that just makes me laugh. And I go, well, you don't need it then. But if you smell Blossom, this is why we offer the sniff test. Just message me at Cotswold Menopause if you want a sniff test. Because if it smells good to you, and it'll smell different to everybody, won't it, Emily?
Yeah, absolutely. So Andrea sent me a little sample pot of this months and months ago, and I just ignored it. And I ignored it. It's here. It's now completely empty. But my little sample pot sat on my desk for ages, and I was just, oh, yeah, all right. And then one day we were chatting, she was like, just have a sniff of it. And I sniffed it and went, oh my God, it smells amazing. And I can't remember what it smelled of that time, but every time I sniff it, it smells slightly different. And I'm, with Andrea's guidance, starting to learn what that means that my body's needing at the time when it smells of different things. And now I often don't even worry about what that means. That means I need. I just use it and I feel better. And I know I quite often share it into the hub, and it looks like I'm just being this awful sort of promotey person, which, given that I have such an anti-promotey things stance on things, tells you how much I believe in it. And I genuinely wouldn't be saying this if I didn't. And I don't know how to get that across, that I cannot promote things
whatsoever.
I cannot promote things I don't believe in. It's really, really simple. But Blossom cream now lives on my bedside table, and I put some on every evening onto my wrists. I have a sniff, and if it really smells like I need it, and I say that in a really generic way, but you'll know what I mean if you sniff it, because when you need it, you need it. Then I put some on the soles of my feet as well, and honestly, I sleep so much better. I went through a lot of time of waking up pretty much every night at sort of 2ish, 3ish, and now I always sleep through until my dogs wake me up at 4 in the morning. Hurrah! But without my dogs waking me up at 4 in the morning, I would sleep right through now. I absolutely believe that I would just sleep the whole way through, and that's a big statement, given that when I started getting all my peri symptoms, I was probably reading a book every 2 nights, because I was awake from 1 until 5 every single morning. So
God. Body chemistry. It's evil that we should, you should just be able to put your head down on the pillow, you feel knackered, and you should be able to sleep. And it's, what the hell is going wrong if that doesn't happen? So if you've got, the first thing we have to sort out with any woman is sleep, because if you're not getting sleep, so many other things won't work. Your nervous system won't get time to just replenish and heal if you're not getting sleep. So we have to get on top of sleep very quickly. So pretty much every expert here will have their route of getting to that.
That's been brilliant. Thank you, Andrea. I think we've covered a lot of really, really useful advice there.
I hope so. Hope people, yeah, we're just here to help. Ask us. We love talking about menopausal stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you soon.